Hi folks, this is Danny at Bradley James Classics, and today's classic is certainly one of my favourite Jaguar cars ever made, from a sort of very glamorous 60s era of very special Jaguar cars. This one is actually a Jaguar 420G. I actually own a Jaguar Mark 10, which is virtually the same car, but just a slightly earlier version. Now this is I think a pretty unique opportunity to take ownership of a very up together factory black car that's had an expensive respray carried out. Previous paintwork was actually very good, but it had been a bit over polished, and I think a lot of the paint was polished off it, whereas now with its fresh coat of paint just been done professionally several thousands of pounds later, she does look $1 million. I'm going to get up close with this car and I'm going to show you that whereas the car itself is 50 years old, the chrome work is in very good condition. And it's not like new, of course, but it is very, very passable. Excellent set of wheel trims. The car itself has had absolutely thousands and thousands of pounds lavished on it. There's a receipt box file, and I counted £30,000 worth of restoration. The car has had a major restoration. There's photographs showing the engine out and painted under the engine bay when that was done some years ago. In fact, there's an old insurance valuation form, and I think it was valued at £30,000. That was quite a few years ago. Now I appreciate it's probably a little tricky with this bright sun, but I'm trying to show you just how super straight all these panels are. No visible signs of rust and rot. I'm just walking slowly down the sides here to hopefully give you an idea just how stunning this car looks. Now, one of the nicest aspects of the car is just how drivable it is. I actually did a little driving assignment in this car for the BBC. They got in touch with me, they found out about this car. I was ferrying a radio presenter around and just enjoyed the fact the car had been used, and it's got 128,000 miles on, and MOTs that go back a couple of decades to sort of verify all that. But gearbox rebuilt, engine rebuilt, back axle rebuilt, brakes, virtually a complete mechanical makeover. There's a receipt in there for a stainless steel exhaust system that was done. Good matching tyres all round. Car drives beautifully well. It's got a few subtle modifications which help its everyday driving, like for example a high torque starter motor. It's got a Kenlo fan. It has electronic ignition. I mean, that's a handful of real world use bonuses for a car like this. It's also got the switch that you flick over and it gives you that sort of auto choke on a button, rather than the dreaded automatic enrichment device, which were a scourge of these Jags of the era. So 4.2 engine, Borg-Warner gearbox, triple carburetors. Now inside there's a good degree of originality. I'm going to show you these lovely sort of oxblood red leather interior. Stunning carpets. You see, very, obviously not mint and immaculate seats, but you know, I think very good seating. The usual sort of cracking that occurs with seats of this age. Headlining was replaced because it was a bit shabby, and actually when the car was last MOT'd, it had about £1,500 spent on clearing any advisories. That's some new disc pads, for example. Now, the car itself, I mean, I want to show you the seats. I mean, they're personally completely passable, absolutely as is, but of course they're not mint condition. When you get in close, you can see there's some sort of cracks here that tend to occur with seats of this age. One thing the car does suffer with is the need for some refurbishment of the woodwork. Now, again, it's a very bright day, but I'm coming in the car here and I'm going to, if you see the cracking that's occurred on some of the veneers there, again, people either like these to be immaculate, which means a refurbishment is required, or they can handle some age. Some of the woodwork, you'll notice that it's got a genuine Motor steering wheel, which actually looks quite smart with all this wood. And over there you can see the door trim has got some cracks to the varnishing. There's quite a lot of wood in these cars. Can you see all up around the door there? They have picnic tables in the back, all around the screen here. Certainly completely usable as is. Everything starts, the engine is very clean and tidy. In fact, I'm going to walk around and flick up the engine bay bonnet so you can have a look in the engine bay. It's just something about a factory black 420G with red leather seats. For me, I think it's an absolutely beautiful colour scheme. I actually own a Warwick Grey Mark 10 Jaguar, as I mentioned earlier, and I just think they're such a graceful car. And I'm just going to pull this bonnet release up. A huge bonnet on these cars, but let me show you what it's like under here. So that's it lifted up, and there we can see very, very clean under here. There's those famous triple SU carburetors, and a little bit difficult to see in this super bright sun, but as you, it really is very, very, very good all throughout here. As I say, there are photographs where the engine was out and the car had its refurbishment. You can see all this insulation's as it should be. It's not an oily engine, it absolutely starts completely on the key, an absolute pleasure to drive. And always remember to try and shut these big old bonnets right down in the middle. There we go. And also, for those of you with sharp eyes, you'll notice that the windscreen in the Mark 10 Jaguar usually has a chrome strip through here. They're an absolute devil to fit if they go out of shape, and I assume the car's had a new windscreen at some stage, and that's why that's missing. And I've got to tell you also, this car's got electric windows which sit on the console. All the electric windows work, got the controls on the console, and you can see there's a bit of trim that should be in wood around those switches. But I think you're going to be very impressed with this when you see the car, how lovely it looks in its fresh black paintwork, professionally painted. I think it looks $1 million with all that chrome, and with the red leather interior, it makes it very special. So this car's in stock now. I suggest you make early contact with me, because having a black 420G Jaguar in stock is certainly not an everyday occurrence. They're a beautiful car. For some, especially a lot of E-type Jaguar owners, they love to have a Mark 10 in the family as well. And this one is rather lovely. So give me a call today, arrange to come and view, and we'll go for a drive in this special car. She drives beautifully, very, very usable. The car's been in constant use for over a number of years, a lot of money spent on it. I think you'll be very, very impressed with the way she drives and the way she looks. So, that's Danny at Bradley James Classics, signing out, and I hope to hear from you regarding this lovely old 60s Jag. Thanks, folks.